Well, I think it's a much more fundamental role than many people think. Because, you know, yes, we in Europe, this has been humanized for many, many centuries. Humans have been practicing agriculture for long. So European nature, to a large extent, has adapted to that situation. So high nature value farming does coincide largely with high value biodiversity, species and habitats. But further than that, I also think that for most Europeans cherish the rural landscape and they want it to be there. And I think for many people that matches also a mental image of what is high nature value farming, with the diversity of small fields, natural, semi-natural vegetation, animals around, pollinators and so forth. It's not these enormous fields where the last tree was wiped out to give some further square meters for production with intensive application of agrochemicals. That's not what Europeans like. So when we have this debate on a global biodiversity declining, both on land and on the ocean, and that's really the pillar of sustainability, the fundamental layer of sustainability, we'll have to do more for nature. Taxpayers will want to put their money where that actually happens. So I think when we debate the funding needs, the reform of the CAP, the discussions on shrinking resources versus new needs, it's pretty fundamental, I think, for agriculture, for farmers, for nature and biodiversity in Europe, that we succeed in avoiding this slow loss of high nature value that matches the loss of biodiversity. First, it's true that we have a problem with meat consumption, not per se, but on the levels of intensification and quantity that's going, because it's not only biodiversity. If you look to climate change, the lists of solutions to address it do include not necessarily going everyone vegetarian, but reducing the amount of meat that we eat, because that does bring a big toll on nature, biodiversity and the climate. With this said, of course, the role of animals is fundamental. For instance, we don't have the wild herds of the past that in Europe caused enough disturbance of the ecosystems so as to allow biomass to be managed naturally. We have done it then, how? Through our livestock, through pastoralism and so forth. We can't pass without that ecosystem service, especially in the context of rising temperatures. Look to my own country in South Europe. We know well what it means to leave biomass just growing, and then when the meteorological conditions hit, you have forest fires that are beyond combat. So that's a fundamental ecosystem service. So there's no message here on you can't eat meat, of course, but if we eat the right kind of meat, the right quantity of meat, that's good for your health, that's good for the environment, that's good for animal welfare, and we can certainly find a balance that delivers the ecosystem services that herbivores need to deliver. That's what you have, sustainable solutions that we need to keep, foster and innovate and spread.